This is Evening Magazine from downtown Seattle.
Tonight we will introduce you to a Renton photographer who traveled halfway around the world to capture the secret lives of snow monkeys.
And we'll go on a unique hunt for some very unique treasure.
Plus, we'll meet one of the stars of The Blacklist.
And we're at Assembly Hall tonight for our first night of Guest Host Week.
That's right. Every night this week we're going to have a familiar face that will be hosting the show with us.
A surprise one. We're not going to tell you who it is ahead of time.
Well, I'm going to tell you who tonight's guest host is.
Yes.
It is
Drum roll, please.
Tom Douglas.
Ladies and gentlemen. Hello,
Welcome
Tom.
to my abode.
Yeah, this is your abode.
So Assembly Hall, what's kind of the theme of the place?
Well, it's anchored by this big hallway, as you can see, and
So that's
we
the
have
Assembly Hall.
We have little stops along the way, including Tanaka-san, which we're standing in, of food opportunities to come eat some deliciousness.
That's awesome. You have done everything there is to do with food, right? Like literally,
Well,
you've
not quite. I
cooked
got a few
everything.
more things up my sleeve.
Have you ever been a barista or made coffee?
I have never been a barista, although I have made coffee. Matter of fact, in all of our restaurants, our espresso machine is half for the staff and half for the customer. So we make a lot of coffee ourselves.
Well, we have big news about a local barista, right? You're going to tell us more about
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Leila Gambari, congratulations, just won this weekend the Barista of the Year right here at the competition in Seattle. So it was very exciting, and she's going to show us her smoky drink, her smoky coffee.
The last thing I'm going to add is smoke. The smoke adds a really interesting flavor to the whole thing and helps bring all the flavors together.
Now it's on to the World Barista Championships in Italy this June. We wish her the best of luck, and may her brews always be tasty.
I've already called dibs on actually getting to cover the World Championships in Rome. I'd like to take my wife and kids if possible.
That'll
Just for
happen.
a week.
Sure.
Maybe two.
There's actually a photographer from Renton who would probably love to go with you. He has traveled the world, not shooting baristas though. He photographs wildlife. He has a special airing on PBS tomorrow about snow monkeys.
Oh, monkeys.
And he told us how he did it.
For decades, crowds have flocked to this park in Nagano, Japan to see snow monkeys warm themselves in hot springs. But few people venture into the mountains to see how they live.
It is the Japanese Alps, so we get some of the heaviest snows in the world.
Filmmaker Joe Pontecorvo endured that snow to capture moments like this.
So it took them a little bit of time to kind of get used to us, and then once they did, they realized that these clumsy bipedal people are going to be following them around. Then they were okay with it. They were completely cool with it, and they would just be a few feet away from us.
Joe and his wife Nim spent 30 weeks over the course of 19 months filming Japanese macaques. First, they learned to identify about 50 of them, jotting down their details in a small book. Then they patiently waited and followed them around, like characters in a reality show.
And you can watch this, and it's like Downton Abbey. It's a little drama unfolding. I mean, it's just as dramatic as any soap opera. And they're carrying out their lives as if you're not there. And it becomes amazing because you feel like you're getting this secret glimpse that you're so privileged to be there and watch their lives unfold.
They shot more than 700 hours of footage, then distilled it down to a 1-hour special called Snow Monkeys, narrated by Liam Neeson. An accomplishment Joe couldn't have imagined when he first began shooting video.
I actually started working at Boeing as a cameraman.
He did lots of corporate work around the Puget Sound, but his passion was documenting wildlife. He spent his own money to film endangered tigers in Siberian Russia. That led to work in China, Thailand, Alaska, and Japan for those snow monkeys.
We were following individuals, and we knew them all very personally. And so every time we left, we worried about how they were doing, and they were like our family. And even now, we think about them.
He hopes audiences will think about them too, even as he and his wife are back home in Renton, working on their next project.
I like how he hesitated there.
Orangutans in Sumatra, a glimpse into yet another world through the eyes of a Northwest filmmaker.
I mean, I've been all over the world, but I always am happy to come back here.
You can watch Snow Monkeys on PBS tomorrow at noon, or you can watch it in its entirety anytime online.
Any experience with snow monkeys, Tom?
No, as a matter of fact, I've been banned from the Woodland Park Zoo because I tend to cut up and eat everything that I come across.
Watch out for you.
I know.
Yeah, for sure. And this place is a kind of a place to keep your eyes on. Tanaka-san.
Exactly.
You have the
Speaking
Godzilla.
of wild animals.
There it is
Yeah,
right
it's
there.
Godzilla.
It's right there.
It's one of Tom's newest endeavors now. How many restaurants do you have in your empire?
We'll just say a dozen or so.
A dozen
Yeah,
or so.
it's-
But here's more about Tanaka-san.
I think it's really just about having fun, not super serious.
Eric Tanaka is the executive chef for Tom Douglas Restaurants. One of his many hats is to help oversee one of the group's most ambitious projects yet.
So the name of the whole building is Assembly Hall, which houses 4 businesses. You know, the vision being that there's something interesting as you're walking down, so hence the different businesses.
At Assembly Juice and Coffee, patrons can help themselves to a variety of different freshly juiced drinks or stick with the city's lifeblood, coffee.
We did our own roast with Starbucks beans. Moving to Home Remedy, which is our marketplace, and we do have a food pod.
From ready to eat to make it at home, the mini market inside Home Remedies has everything from specialty foods to slices to go.
We also do pizza, which has the New York style. We really like that, and people are really enjoying it. The 4th business is Zinnia Garden Bench, which Tom is a huge collector of tchotchkes, so we've kind of housed some of his collection there and sell those.
But the centerpiece to Assembly Hall is the restaurant Tanaka-san, an upscale but playful approach to Asian American food.
It's really essentially what I like to eat every day. For lunch, we do a dim sum style. It's, you know, really small plates, meant to have 2, 3, 4 of them. You know, they're $5 to $6, $7 each. You know, we're doing a ramen right now, corn version, corn pork stew style. Ramen heads are a tough bunch, and you know, we're trying to fit that piece.
Besides noodles, there are things like pastrami Kalbi short ribs and smoked duck sausage. To wash it down, the cocktails get the Tanaka-san touch too.
We worked really hard incorporating our drink program with our food program. We have chuhais, shochu, sake slushies, which have been really popular.
So it may look like an ordinary building on the outside, but inside, Assembly Hall is anything but.
I am hungry after all that. Tom, if there's a must-try item in this hall, what is it?
Boy, the bulgogi dumplings in the hot stone pot, bubbling to your
that
table with
sounds
kimchi. Delicious.
Okay, the dumplings.
Assembly Hall is a big project. There's another big project coming down the line in Tacoma. They're going to, after 30 years, the Tacoma Dome is getting ready for a facelift. And they're talking about painting on that 5-acre roof an Andy Warhol painting.
Interesting.
As Jim reports, it's an old story with a whole new life.
From soup to stars, the late Andy Warhol was a hipster artist with a brash eye for the absurd. But he also had a softer side, one that he tried to bring to the Tacoma skyline.
Not typical to what people would have thought at the time that Andy did.
Tacoma Arts Administrator Amy McBride recently unearthed the proposal Warhol submitted at the city's request back in 1982.
These are my files, yeah.
You can see it on display in the Tacoma Art Museum exhibit, Andy Warhol's Flowers for Tacoma.
There is a 2-page proposal. Apparently it was submitted late.
See, Warhol hoped to paint a simple but explosively colorful flower across the top of the Tacoma Dome. It would have certainly put the city front and center.
To have the largest Warhol in the world.
But a panel of judges passed on his proposal, and eventually the entire submission process grew so politically contentious that funding for all public art in Tacoma virtually dried up for the next 15 years.
It was a big wound for the city of Tacoma.
McBride would like to take Warhol's original proposal and finally bring it to life.
Maybe it didn't make sense in 1981, but I think it makes sense now.
By using a combination of public and private funding and scheduling the giant paint job for a time when the roof is due to be refurbished anyway, supporters of Warhol's Flower think their sky-high plans are modestly down to earth.
We're the only city that has proof that Warhol wanted to do something like this. So it's something that is extremely unique and authentic to our city.
One thing's for sure, Andy Warhol would have loved the attention. Another 15 minutes of fame, more than 2 decades after his death.
I think it would be fantastic.
So it sounds like this is actually going to happen now. Last week, the city announced that they're going to put an adhesive sticker over the top of the dome that is this design, and
Big
then
sticker.
after it is a big sticker, and after about 6 months or so, if they like it, they're going to raise $2 million for the actual
Through
paint job.
private donation.
Yeah,
Right,
private,
not
I think, yeah.
public. Correct.
Well, I've got fishermen at the back door with live crabs. I'm heading to the back to
All right.
cook them
Okay.
up.
All right. Come back later.
Cheers,
Okay.
sir.
Okay.
Busy guy.
Thanks.
An elk hunt that doesn't involve guns, but does involve a prize. Later. And this comedian's dog is stealing the spotlight after this.
Welcome back to the show tonight. We are coming to you from inside Assembly Hall at Tanaka-san, and our guest host, Tom Douglas, is going to rejoin us in just a few minutes.
Should be kind of fun. He runs this place.
He runs
As
every place
Just
in the
about every
city.
restaurant.
I know,
yeah,
right?
You're right. Well, a local gal from Kent, Washington, that's her hometown name, Rebecca Corey. She's a comic. She left the bright lights of Kent for LA, and she was on Last Comic Standing, was a finalist on that show.
Yeah.
That's right. And then this weekend, she is spearheading a march on our nation's capital. Before that, Jim got a chance to have an awkward sit down with Corey.
It was awkward.
It was awkward, and her pit bull Angel. And as you're going to see, it's mostly her pit bull Angel.
Yeah.
Rebecca Corey, welcome back to your hometown of Kent.
Thank you.
Angel.
Well, I mean, it is good.
And we'll get to you.
But anyways, I grew up here.
You love
I grew up
me.
here in Kent.
You love me so much.
There's a bee! Oh my God!
Isn't it true that people don't say, you know, oh look, there's Rebecca Corey. They say, look, there's Angel.
Yeah, but you know, if you broke it down, I do a lot of the work.
Just a second. She just looks so cute right now. Can we get a tight shot of her face right now? That's.
I was just gonna say.
I'm sorry. If you could just, you're in the shot just a little bit.
If you broke it down, if you saw.
She's a beautiful, beautiful girl, and she
You don't
knows.
have to. I don't know if I want you. You don't have
knows-
to. Don't hug her.
She knows where the love comes from.
Well, you have food. This has gone weird. Can we cut?
Oh, shaking my hand. Shaking, but she's so smart.
Okay.
Even her spit is cute.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm losing.
Oh.
I feel.
Losing the only love you ever had? Talk about losing. Let's talk about how your career is doing right now.
You know what? I did do a guest star on a show called Rizzoli and Isles. That was only like last month.
Never heard of it.
The Million People March is it's a march on Washington to end breed-specific legislation and.
Does Mommy
to
like
make
these?
it-
No, Mommy doesn't like these. Could you tell us about the Million People March? Go ahead, just whatever you
Well,
want.
I was actually talking about it a minute ago.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Did I miss that part?
Well, did you want to ask me more about, you know, the stuff I'm doing, or
So,
stand
I
up for
think-
pits, or
I think we're out of time.
Angel? Wait a minute.
Come on, baby. Oh.
Now we can help Rebecca out. She wanted to try to communicate, even though Jim was distracted by Angel.
Yeah.
They're talking about the 1 million Pibble March on Washington, D.C.
Pibble means
Pibble.
pit bull.
It's
Pit
kind
bull,
of a
right?
term of endearment for
All right.
Pibble, like, oh, the cute little Pibble.
Okay, and so that march is happening
This weekend, yeah.
in DC.
In D.C.
Okay.
We had a pit bull in the probably late 70s, early 80s.
Wow.
That was your family dog?
We had his name was Odd Job, and he basically ate.
Odd Job?
Odd Job, like the character in the
Oh, yeah, okay.
007
Sure.
Okay.
Movies, and he ate just about every pair of shoes and every belt that my dad owned. So.
Great endorsement for pit bulls. We'll be right back.
The inside scoop about the NBC hit, The Blacklist. Later. And a hunt for a treasure that could be worth hundreds.
So this one's not easy to see.
Next.
Welcome back to the show from Assembly Hall. Tom Douglas right now appears to be in the kitchen, but he'll be joining us a little bit later.
Okay.
Every spring there's an elk hunt in eastern Washington, but this one does not involve guns.
No elk are hurt in the process of this hunt, and the treasure that is found can be worth a couple $100. Here's Jim.
The signs of spring are everywhere in the hills of Natchez right now, and this is one of them.
So an antler like this is called a shed.
Every year there's a hunt here with no carnage.
So this is the big trophy.
A shed hunt.
Well, you'll see guys walking out and they'll have a backpack and they'll have 4 or 5 of them strapped across their back. That's how they're coming out of the woods.
A springtime gift from the biggest elk herd in the state.
We're in Oak Creek Wildlife Area, so we're going to go up and we're actually going into our winter closure.
In the winter, the Department of Fish and Wildlife feeds thousands of elk here.
Right up here on the hillside, we've got, I'd say 30, 40 elk.
Then, in the spring,
Those antlers start dropping off their heads as the new growth starts taking place underneath for this year's antler. And they just fall off. But if you look out across this country, they drop them all across these hillsides.
and there they sit, undisturbed. This 64,000-acre site is closed to the public to protect the herd as it recovers from lean winter months.
And if we stress them, we kill them.
But when the hills get green and the elk get fat and happy,
and we open the gates and let them in, the big draw for people, then it's going to be these elk antlers laying on the ground, the sheds that they're looking for.
every May 1st, this parking lot gets packed before dawn, with shed hunters looking for a first crack at these treasures.
And we call it our Easter egg hunt.
Spotting an antler is still a thrill for this 30-year Fish and Wildlife Department veteran.
I looked up the hill, and just above the road is a fairly good-sized antler. And that one actually looks like a nice antler, so I have to go look at it. I don't get to keep it myself. So this one's not easy to see, but again, it's right there. That's a 6-point. Again, for anybody, that's a trophy, whether you're harvesting it on the hoof, or in this case, being able to find it and take it home. We'll leave that for somebody to find.
Rich hopes a family with kids will rediscover what he just put back. But some hunters seek profit.
An antler like that, I've seen them on the internet. A little bit bigger than this, but they're asking $250 a piece.
Thanks to the 11,000 elk of the Yakima herd, there will be enough antlers to go around on May 1st.
But for the most part, the odds of you finding one are pretty good. They're not super good, but at least they're decent.
And thanks to the stewardship of rangers like Captain Mann, these animals will remain healthy enough to grow, then shed more treasures next year.
Come out, enjoy what we got. It's cool to find one of these and take one home. But we still got to understand that we can have an impact on our resource.
Pretty interesting. I don't know. You want to do that?
I would try it for sure.
Would you?
I enjoy elk.
You have to get up super early to do it. It starts at 6 a.m. on May 1st. The gates open at the Oak Creek Feeding Station.
Right, but remember you need a discovery pass also if you're going to go hunting for antlers.
I need to get one. Mine is expired. Just noticed that.
What this star from the Blacklist was recently doing in Seattle. When we come back.
Welcome back to the show from Assembly Hall. And no, Jim Dever hasn't suddenly become this handsome. This is Tom Douglas, the famous restaurateur.
Been great to be with you guys.
Great to have you. Hey, do you watch The Blacklist on NBC?
I do, because it's after The Voice. I kind of like those singing shows.
Yeah, no, it's good.
You're a good singer?
La 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 la. I don't know. No.
Lovely. Well, Jim Dever had a chance to sit down with one of the stars of The Blacklist, who has an interesting connection to Seattle.
Hey, Ryan, understand you were in Seattle recently.
I did. I shot a film there that I was just at the Tribeca Festival in New York for. It's called Lucky Them.
Musicians, men, toxic to me. And you're both. It's not personal.
We were in Seattle for just over a month.
Yeah, we're looking forward to seeing that. Hey, tell me how your life has changed since The Blacklist.
I really enjoy sort of the reactions I get on the street from people and hearing their feedback and their thoughts and opinions on who my character really is, or who Red really is, or where the show is going. And some people think I'm a murderer in real life, so that's also a change.
Yeah, well, your character, Tom Keene, don't take this wrong, is kind of creepy, especially in last week's episode.
I was excited about this episode because Megan and I finally had the opportunity to sit down, and as these two, Liz and Tom, had the opportunity to sit down and be honest with each other for the first time in their entire relationship.
Here's an example of honesty, Tom. You've been making me pancakes for 2 years. I hate pancakes.
Stop! And then, of course, the fight. We got to smash our apartment set that we've been filming in all year, which was a great time.
A lot of stuff did go down in the last episode, which begs the question, are you coming back?
I'm not supposed to answer that question, but I can say that there is a lot to learn about Tom, that his story is not yet told. There's a lot of great secrets and a lot of just not secrets so much as just things that we're about to learn that are going to sort of change our view of him.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan Eggold, and continued success with the show.
Thanks very much.
The new movie Ryan shot in Seattle is called Lucky Them. Watch for it. It'll be out this fall.
Up next, you can watch The Blacklist at 10, right after the all-new version of The Voice.
And tomorrow night, we've got a Grammy Award-winning co-host. He's from Seattle, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yes, it's a big surprise.
Big tease.
Thanks so much for watching. Good night from Assembly Hall in downtown
Nice
Seattle.
job, Tom.
Thanks, you guys.
Way
It's
to go.
such a pleasure
You did great.
being here. Cheers.
Thank you. I want a T-shirt with my name on it.
I know exactly. Of course, I thought that was you.